A friend has a Toyota that I'm helping him troubleshoot, and he took it, had the code red, and it said oxygen sensor. He then went and replaced it. He still check engine light came on, so it said oxygen sensor again, so he replaced the other one. And a third time, and he replaced one of the downstream ones, so there's actually 4 in this vehicle. And he didn't have the wrench. It takes a 7/8 wrench, special socket. It kind of looks like the one in the picture I'm posting right now. So replacing the oxygen sensors didn't fix the issue, and he's getting poor fuel economy and a really weird freeze frame voltage reading on the oxygen sensors in there on 2 of them that he replaced. So I'm kind of leaning towards that the ones he put in were wrong or reading wrong, and they're not the actual cause of the issue. What he didn't have an oxygen sensor wrench, so he cut the cables. So I've stripped them back and tested by grounding these two that the heater is the heater and element in them is working. So I'm going to solder this connection, and all you really need is some flux, which I have right here, and solder, and then a soldering iron. And I have this electric one here, which is really neat, and also have this butane one. My plug-in electric one's in the house, but usually this one does pretty good, and it's still coming on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to twist the connections together. If I can get these little wires to twist. So I'm going to get the wires twisted together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to apply some flux. And I'm just going to I usually use a brush, but that's also inside of my soldering iron. So I'm just going to put some of this on. See if I can get that melted in there. Probably don't want to put this much on. Let me see if I can spread it. I switched to my butane one, which takes this type of feel right here and just feels from the bottom, because this is working a lot faster than this battery one. The battery one just wasn't melting it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a little bit of solder so I have a little bit to hold on to. I already got this connection twisted together in flux like this last one. I just want to get that and hold it on and get that nice and warm. And you can see that it's already warming up. And I'm going to flip it and make sure I got a good solder, and I don't there. So I need to get more melted in there, and it doesn't look like I got very much at all melted on this one. So and that flux should just kind of pull that solder in. That's why the flux is very important to use. And I got some melting here, and you can see the flux bringing up impurities, because I'm actually melting back the wire there, the protective cover. You can see that's a good solid connection. So after the connection's cooled, I want to take the smallest possible I can get heat shrink, and I want to cut it so it what's about there. I'll slip it on, and you want to make sure this is cool, otherwise it will start to shrink as you're getting it over this. And I want to fill it just about the middle. It's about right. And then I just have a standard barbecue lighter here, and you want to keep this moving, and you can see as it shrinks up there. That's looking good. And then we'll go over the top of this once we get them all done with another piece of heat shrink. And let me finish the rest of these up. So I got the wires twisted up and some heat shrink stuck up here far enough away that it won't get any heat from this, and then I'll be able to pull it back over. And you can also see I have taped with white and blue electrical tape the white and blue wires, so I didn't mix them up because you couldn't really tell, being that they were behind all that. So what now I'm going to do is I'm going to add flux to everything, and one connection at a time. start soldering. So now that I got this side done and the heat shrink on these, we have a good tight connection, and I'm just gonna bring this over and shrink it down as much as I can. This is the big piece, so it's not gonna shrink fully, but it should shrink around those fairly good. And there we go. This is the finished product. It took me about an hour to complete because I was filming. That adds a little bit more time, but you could expect this to take a half hour to 45 minutes just because it was so many solder points and adding wire and stuff. So I'm going to go through and put some tape over these just to hold these wires together, and this is done. Thanks for watching.